So overall, you know, it is a fairly good machine. I like the idea. I like the flex brewing idea behind it. But I will say that the mess that it's making is not my favorite part of a single serve machine because, after all, the reason we use single serve is because it's fast, it's easy, and generally there's not much waste or mess. A little bit of mess here, and you see that happen with both configurations, a K-Cup and drip style coffee. Again, your results may vary. This is what we do have happening here with this specific Hamilton Beach FlexBrew coffee machine. Hey everyone, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com. Thanks as always for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. In today's video, I've got an overview for you of a new machine from Hamilton Beach. It's called the FlexBrew, and I reviewed a machine a lot like this a little while back by Hamilton Beach. That one was called the Scoop. Now the Scoop had a focus on being able to make drip style coffee but with single serve convenience. That's pretty much the same deal with the FlexBrew machine, except it has one big new added feature, and that is that you can use K-Cups with this machine as well as brew regular ground coffee using a drip style machine. This is a drip style machine. So we're going to talk about the features and what's in the box and how to make use of the machine. So let's dive in, talk about the FlexBrew coffee machine from Hamilton Beach. Let's start with what's in the box with the Hamilton Beach FlexBrew single-serve coffee machine. Now you have the machine itself, obviously. You also get the instruction booklet, of course, and a quick start guide. Now the quick start guide is probably all you really need because this is a pretty straightforward machine. So let's dive in and talk about the operation of the FlexBrew machine. The operation of the FlexBrew single-serve coffee machine by Hamilton Beach is pretty straightforward. As I say, you're probably only going to need that quick start guide or our video here from Aromacup.com. Let's talk about making use of the machine. Now, what you're going to find when you first open the machine is that you have this tray. Now this tray is your brew tray, and this is where your K-Cups are going to go. This is also where you can add your ground coffee. Now, it's pretty easy to make use of because if you want to use a K-Cup, you're going to leave the K-Cup adapter inside of the brew tray. If you want to use drip style coffee, you're just going to take that out and you're going to put your grounds directly in here. There is a little bit of gold tone filter inside of the tray, and that of course is where your coffee is going to go. Now you can add up to 10 grams of ground coffee. That's Hamilton Beach specifications. Now we're going to talk about brewing using a K-Cup first off. The first thing you're going to want to do is keep that tray out because that's of course where you're going to put your coffee. Then you're going to fill the machine up with some water. Now it fills up just with this flip top on the top of the machine. And inside of there you're going to find two fill lines, and that's an 8 ounce and a max fill line. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go to 8 ounces. Now I found that you need to pour pretty slowly because what's going to happen is as you fill up the machine, it's actually going to fill the tank inside, and you're not going to see all of the water stay in the top half of the machine immediately until you start to fill that tank up. Then you can finish filling until you meet the 8 ounce or the max fill line. Now that's just something to keep in mind because if you pour it in expecting to see that fill up immediately, you're not going to see that happen, and you may think there's something wrong with the machine. You're actually just filling up the tank inside the machine. So after you've added your desired amount of water, you're going to add, of course, your coffee. I'm going to use a K-Cup to start off with because that is the newest, most unique feature of this machine, and why it's called the FlexBrew is that you can use a K-Cup. Now, because of the way this tray punches the K-Cup, we're just going to say it for good measure, you may not be able to use all K-Cups using this machine. The reason I say that is that inside of this brew tray is a small metal tooth, and that little metal tooth is going to puncture your K-Cup. Now it doesn't puncture your K-Cup the way we're used to them being punctured, which is right in the middle on the bottom. It actually punctures it on the side. So you may find that some K-Cups, just based on their design, may not play nicely with this machine. That's just something to be forewarned about. I don't think you're going to have any problems, but you just want to keep it in mind. So the usage is very simple. Take your K-Cup and put it into the K-Cup adapter. Now you want to press down, and you're going to press until you hear that click. That is the K-Cup actually being punctured by that metal tooth inside of the tray. Now you're going to take that tray and simply push it into the machine. Now after you've pushed in, it locks in, you want to lock it one more time by pressing down on this front handle here. This is going to keep you from being able to pull this tray out while the machine is brewing. I can't imagine you would do that, but again, it's just a safety precaution on the machine. So press that down and now you're ready to start brewing. I'm going to take a large mug here. Now, before I add my mug, one more thing that I should mention, and that is that the drip tray is actually removable and it is reversible. So if we're going to be brewing into a larger tumbler, we can take this stainless steel drip tray off of the plastic tray and then flip this over and put it into the machine just like that, and then you can add your drip tray back to the machine. And now we'll just go ahead and we're going to press the power button, which is here on the bottom of the unit. It's going to glow red and the machine is going to start brewing. It's going to get the water hot, of course, and it's going to brew the coffee. Now the machine doesn't have a continuously hot tank inside of it as opposed to some single serve machines. That tank needs to heat up each time you add water to the machine. It's going to take about 45 seconds to just around a minute to actually heat up all that water that you've added to the tank before it starts brewing. So it does take a little bit of time, so we're going to let this machine do its thing, get that water hot, and then brew that coffee for us today. So now the machine has started brewing, and once it starts brewing, it moves very fast. But it does take a little while to actually get to that point. I've found that from setting up for a cup of coffee to actually having a cup of coffee is about 3 minutes with this machine. That may vary a little bit after you use it maybe a good few times in a row if you're brewing a good few cups, but I did find that it takes a little bit in order to brew that cup. Now that said, once it's done brewing, and it's not going to beep or anything like that. You'll just see the power light turn off on the button on the front. Once it's done brewing, it does make a great cup of coffee. This is a real good looking cup of coffee, and it's very hot. Let's measure the temperature again here. We're coming up on about 180 degrees all total, which is pretty good. In fact, that's really impressive for a single serve machine. I've seen a lot of machines purportedly say that they can reach up to 190 and 192 degrees, and I've honestly really never seen it. This is about the closest I've seen, so this may be about the hottest cup of coffee I've seen on a single serve machine. So not too bad. I will have to say I give this machine a lot of kudos for that. Now, when you're done brewing, all you need to do is pop that handle back up to unlock the brew basket and take it out. Now, in this case, I have a little bit of a mess from my K-Cup, and this again goes back to what I was talking about earlier, and that is that sometimes you're probably going to get a little bit of a mess with this machine, so we're just going to actually empty this off. Now, that's just something to really keep in mind. You know, I mean, we see plenty of machines that say that they will work with your average K-Cup, and then sometimes we see a problem with a K-Cup just because the technology varies from cup to cup. That said, let's go ahead and talk about how we can brew some drip-style coffee, because that should be just about like any other coffee brewing process that we've ever done before. So, the brew basket can hold up to about 10 grams of coffee, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit here. This means that you're not necessarily going to use too much ground coffee. Now again, I've taken out my K-Cup adapter, and I'm just going to put some coffee grounds into my brew basket right here. Again, you can vary this depending on the strength of coffee that you like, but just remember, 10 grams isn't a whole lot. That is about what we've seen in an average K-Cup. Sometimes there's a little plus or minus there. Now, after you've added your ground coffee, all you again are going to do is add your brew basket back to the machine and then lock it down for brewing. Now remember, you need to add your water as well. There's not a continuous flowing tank in this machine. Again, it's pretty straightforward. All we need to do is press the power button here on the front of the machine. And we'll see if this maybe heats up a little more quickly this time because we just recently used the machine. But as I say, in my experience, I've been seeing about 45 seconds to a minute for the water to really get hot, and then my coffee starts brewing. So we'll give this a moment to get started. It moves pretty quickly once it gets going, but I will say that it seems to make a little bit of a mess anytime it's brewing. And originally, as I say, that was why I decided to use the drip tray configuration, which puts the mug closer to the brew basket, because usually That allows me to cut down on the amount of mess that I have, but even in this case I do have a little bit of a mess. So your results may vary. This is what I am seeing with this machine. This is what I've seen in doing some tests with it. It's not always as messy, however. And it's again still dripping a little bit here, but the power button is actually turned off. So overall, you know, it is a fairly good machine. I like the idea. I like the flex brewing idea behind it. But I will say that the mess that it's making is not my favorite part of a single serve machine, because after all, the reason we use single serve is because it's fast, it's easy, and generally there's not much waste or mess. A little bit of mess here, and you see that happen with both configurations, a K-Cup and drip style coffee. Again, your results may vary. This is what we do have happening here with this specific Hamilton Beach FlexBrew coffee machine. Let's talk about pricing on the Hamilton Beach FlexBrew single-serve coffee machine. You're looking at about $49.99 as the retail price. If you want to find out how you can buy this machine, we'll have a link down here in the description of our video. The Amazon reviews on this machine are evening out at about 3 stars, so somewhere in the middle. So the bottom line with that respect is that it's very cool that it's a flexible machine. It may not always be the most useful option for your own at-home coffee shop. The other thing I have to say, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a demerit, is just the mess that it makes. It did make a pretty good amount of mess for me in all of my testing, and it kind of just seems very moody as to when it happens. So that is something that is a little bit of a gray mark on the machine itself. But that said, I do think it is a cool machine, doesn't take up a lot of space on the countertop, makes an incredibly hot cup of coffee. That's its biggest mark here. 180, 182 degrees out of a single serve machine is very impressively hot from a single serve machine. I haven't seen that with most. That's my bottom line. I hope you guys found this review useful, and again, if you want to find out how you can purchase this machine, check out the link in the description here of our video. We're always happy to talk coffee with you guys at Aromacup.com, so feel free to join us. And of course, rate, comment, subscribe here on our channel. Always grateful when you come over and join us at Aromacup.com. Again, guys, I'm Brian. Thanks for joining me in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com, and I'll see you next time. Take care.